Huh. Well, you can see me in the reflection in the... Holy crap. Well, I was just sitting there thinking about something, how many times some of the greatest things I've ever thought, or what I thought was the greatest thing, I never recorded. I never recorded. Can't prove that I said them. So I'm gonna try to do this. See if when it's done, I look at it and evaluate it and say, yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe I should do a whole bunch of videos and then edit them, since I've figured out how to edit. Well, I haven't figured out how to edit. I figured out how to cut out. I got going because I said something out loud. And I realized my sister heard it because she snuck in. Now, I don't know. I didn't hear her come in. I wished I would have. I said my sister was fat, she's lazy, and there ain't nobody else here. It's just me and her. She's fat and she's lazy. And she doesn't get nothing done. The reason she doesn't get nothing done is because she doesn't want to do it. And the reason she doesn't want to do it is because it's a bad habit. The reason it's a bad habit is because people were rude to her when she was young, and she just got into the bad habit. It's a bad habit. So that got me fired up. Now it got me thinking about my own weaknesses. One of the weaknesses, I need to get some freaking ID, and my wife passed away, so I gotta get down there and get the ID so I can go to there and hand in the death certificate so I can get the POD, provided they ain't lied to me. I guess I could put this in my most intimate. Kind of got rid of my butt picture, so. Butt pictures. Probably cuss and swear, so. I'm gonna do it this way. There. Hopefully I'll edit all this out. But anyway, got rid of all my butt pictures because, well, I always kind of wondered why girls said I had a pretty butt. I do have a pretty butt when looked at the right way, or looked at from the right angle. But that's passe blase. Ain't never get married again. I've been married 4 times. I done figured out something. I'm not really a compatible type of person for a wife. I put on a show just like a woman puts on a show for me. I married 4 women, 3 of them were unfaithful. Including the last one before she passed on. I forgave her. But back to what I was talking on, if I can remember it now. Supreme Court says you don't need a driver's license. State of Oklahoma says, and every state in the union says, you got to have ID if you live here a certain amount of time, or if you come here and sleep a certain amount of time. Of course, there are always exceptions when you set up rules like that. Why in the world do they want everybody to have ID? Well, you have to go to the foundational reason. It's so that, well, the only one that's legitimate is like a corporation needs to give you have a company or a bank or any business needs, some businesses need identification that is trustworthy from you. And here's everybody says, well, that's a minor inconvenience that, if you consider losing half a day to a minor inconvenience, I guess that's a minor inconvenience. But I really want to talk about why is it our country has gotten to the point where you have to have identification to prove who you are. I'll tell you why. Because ain't nobody trusts nobody anymore, to be honest and open. That's why. Why? Because man sinned. There's still only a certain percentage of the people of this country, in this population, that will lie about who they are, and it numbers on a day-to-day basis 100,000 or so, a few 100,000 people. Not even a significant fraction. Maybe it's a notable fraction of 1% of the population being somewhere in the neighborhood of, depending on who you talk to, 320 million, the official census, to 360, 400 million. Which you don't know. But let's just take a number somewhere in between. I'll say somewhere. A number I hear often enough to say that there might be some truth to it. 360 million. 1% of that is 3.6 million, and a significant fraction of that might be 0.3 or 0.03 to 0.01% of the population, which would be at the most 360,000 people, not even something to bat an eyelid at. Until Jesus Christ returns to earth, and that percentage of people will reduce to somewhere in the neighborhood of, there will still be some of that going on every once in a while, but it will become such an anomaly. Mankind doesn't have to become Nazi or communist where everybody has to have their freaking 3 forms of fucking ID to get anything or do anything. But that is exactly where this world's going to go. And I'm telling you right now, as a point of warning, don't go there. But you will anyway. I'm not interested in stopping you. I'm only interested in telling you. That's just not going to work out. There are those in the upper levels and in the intelligentsia that think and believe that mankind isn't happy unless it's fighting each other. But I'm here to tell you that mankind is not happy fighting each other. Now maybe those guys up at the top think that's some form of competition. It's not. It's some form of animalism, but it ain't some form of competition. But that's all right. I'm gonna do what I gotta do for the time being. It ain't about responsibility. The fact of the matter is, the way everything's set up right now, and I believe this, that the federal government is running under a charter
and has taken, co-opted every state in the union but Texas. I think it's funny. And turned them all into corporations, including themselves, all for the sake of moolah. And I know for a fact that those boys think that some good is coming out, but I guarantee you only God himself has made good come out of it. And it weren't their God that did it. Their God didn't have nothing but nefarious purposes in mind. Ultimately, they want to reduce the planetary population because they think it's the right thing to do for the planet. The planet is an inanimate object. And I guarantee you that ultimately, if it came down to it, ultimately it's going to come down to it, where the planet's going to be a lifeless rock with no water, just stuff. The rest of it will get blown out into the freaking galaxy in the universe, reused by other mostly inanimate places. And I've been watching a whole lot of astronomy and stuff like that. There is a real danger that that could happen soon. Sooner rather than later. Check out a video. There's a hole in the universe they can't explain. My thought is, why is there a hole in the universe they can't explain? Their mathematical theories and equations, they don't work out. That hole's not supposed to be there. So I'm going to finish with a thought about Karl Marx and his nonsense. He looked at an anthill one day and said, wouldn't it be wonderful if people were just like that? Blind automatons, that's what he looked at the ants as. They weren't blind automatons, they were, well, they were. But he didn't look at the fact that the ants were just blindly going about, foraging. Mainly. Building their nest. So you look at the nest, and some people have made molds of ant hills. And it turns out they're quite large. Poured liquid copper into an ant hill, or concrete into an ant hill, and then let it cure and then or cool and then wash off. Or bronze. It absolutely fascinating. Totally, completely at random, and yet somehow that ant hill functions at random. Well, if you took Karl Marx's thoughts to the extreme, basically each individual ant was left to do its own thing. But it naturally did its own thing that went along with the ant hill. He was looking at it like it had a corporate mind. It does not have a corporate mind. It has a hunger and a shelter need. And clothing ain't even an issue for an ant. It's already clothed. Fascinating. Why in the hell would an a guy who's sitting behind a desk writing his thoughts on paper come to the conclusion that, well, if we ruled and controlled all these people, or if we turned them into zombies that just did whatever the hell we told them or ordered them to do, that's not going to work out. Ever. Kind of just leave people alone and they'll figure it out. Well, I guess that's enough for now. Let's keep this video down. Click.